alcohol, which is frowned upon somewhat in Islam, had never been completely outlawed in Pakistan, at least not for non-Muslims. And Omar said Karachi still had several dozen licensed liquor stores. They tended to be run by Hindus. And in theory, their customers would be non-Muslim. But of course, in South Asia, Muslims and Hindus tend to look the same. Deciding to visit a store, we climbed into a car and rolled through the quiet streets of the old central city. We came to a darkened street of old stone buildings and stepped through an arched gateway into an alley. The alley was strewn with trash. Off to the right, I saw a lighted window. Several customers stood in front of the window, waiting their turn to take wrapped packages for the men inside. I simply meant to observe, maybe chat with the store owner, but a man standing in the alley approached me. "You want a drink?" he said in English. "Where are you from?" "America." "America," he said. "Parlez-vous français? Parlez-vous français?" "No." "No." "You want a drink? Come have a drink with me. I have a room where we can go. You're my guest." "No, thank you." "Would you like some wine? How about some wine? Parlez-vous français?" He then said a considerable amount in French, although I didn't follow it. Amar and I looked at each other. Amar spoke 4 languages, but not this one. Later the man switched back to English. "I love Paris," he said, leaning into my face. "To me, Paris and Karachi are the same. You can drink." He was not a young man. He had just a bit of very short gray hair and a gray beard. I can't remember his eyes. I may have been avoiding them. He wore a white shalwar kameez, which is the traditional loose clothing of Pakistan. His name was Lodi. He gave his full name, a grand one, several words long, which I am choosing to withhold, as he said he was Muslim. He led the way to the window and signaled the men inside. We passed him a selection of alcohol to choose from, all of it Pakistani made. I declined all the bottles, saying I preferred beer anyway. Of course, Mr. Lodi turned back to the window and came back with 2 tall boy cans, blue with gold lettering, or so they seemed in the awful light. Each can said, "Marie's Millennium Brew." It came from an old brewery up near Islamabad. I tried to pay, but this could not possibly be allowed. I was in Pakistan. I was a guest. Mr. Lodi was still insisting that I come to his room. "You are my guest," he said. Amar and I shrugged. We were here to learn. Mr. Lodi had, of course, taken a beer for himself, and he led the way into one of the darkened stone buildings down a short, dim hallway. Then he climbed a steel spiral staircase. At the top of the stairs, we emerged in a room with its window covered by a sheet. The light was bad, but in my memory, the walls were some kind of dirty pink. A dirty sink hung on one wall, an old television set dead on a corner shelf. A thin, flowered mattress lay on the floor. And on this mattress, 4 men sat playing cards. The card players, I came to learn, were employees of the liquor store. They were all Hindus, and little posters of 2 gods hung on the wall above them. One of the pictures was of blue-faced Shiva, the god of destruction. The workers spent their downtime here. Mr. Lodi was apparently such a regular customer that he knew all about their break room, which he must have used so often that they barely noticed him when he came in. We sipped Millennium Brew and talked for a little while. Mr. Lodi offered a theory. "You can tell the psychology of Karachi by the way it drinks," he said. I asked if he meant that liquor sales go up when people are distressed. "Yes," he answered. "That was exactly it." "Let's ask the employees," I said, and we inquired of the card players if this were true. "Do sales go up when there is violence or trouble in the city?" "No," they said. "It's a steady business." Now when I tell that story, people often say afterward, "I was convinced that by the end you were going to be kidnapped by those people." Was anybody thinking that here? Yeah, a couple people, thank you. It's okay, I really appreciate it. But think about that reaction for a minute. It is scary to open your mind, to open your heart, to open your ears to people who are very different than yourself in an environment that feels very foreign. But quite often when I have done that as a journalist, as a writer, what I found on the other side is a human being who welcomes me, who often treats me better as a foreigner than he might treat someone from his own country, and who is eager to tell the story, who is eager that someone is listening, which is something that we can all do here at home and abroad. The book is Instant City. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. And I try to leave some time for your questions. I guess there's a couple of microphones out.